Welcome back to the front lines of your psychological liberation. You are here because you have made the most terrifying decision of your life. You have decided to go no contact. Or perhaps you are standing on the precipice, looking down into the abyss, terrified that if you cut the cord, the narcissist will simply move on and live happily ever after without you. You are haunted by the fear that your absence will mean nothing to them. You worry that while you are agonizing over the silence, they are out there laughing, thriving, and forgetting you ever existed. This fear is the final shackle they placed on your mind. It is a calculated lie designed to keep you tethered to a corpse. Today, we are going to shatter that illusion once and for all. You have been conditioned to believe that the narcissist holds all the cards. They trained you to see them as the sun around which your small, insignificant planet orbits. They made you believe that they are the source of all light, warmth, and vitality, and that without them, you would freeze to death in the dark. But what if I told you that the physics of this relationship are actually the exact opposite? What if I told you that you are not the planet, but the sun? And they are not the sun, but a black hole that relies entirely on your light to be visible? When you go no contact, you are not hiding, you are turning off the light switch in a room full of monsters. We need to reframe what no contact actually is. It is not a passive act of retreat. It is the most aggressive, violent, and devastating psychological strike you can launch against a pathological narcissist. It is a declaration of war against their false reality. To a healthy person, silence is just a lack of noise. To a narcissist, silence is an existential threat. It is a mirror that reflects nothing back but their own emptiness. By removing your attention, you are removing the oxygen from their sealed room. You are not just leaving a relationship, you are dismantling the infrastructure of their ego. Think about the noise of the relationship. The arguments, the defending, the explaining, the crying. Even your anger was fuel for them. Your outrage proved they mattered. Your tears proved they had power. Every text you sent, every plea for closure, was a brick in the wall of their grandiosity. When you go no contact, you stop building. You stop feeding. You stop reacting. The sudden cessation of input is a shock to their system that is comparable to a junkie being ripped away from their supply cold turkey. They don't just notice it, they feel it in their marrow. You might be asking, but do they really care? The answer is complex and dark. They do not care about you as a human being with a soul and feelings. They never did. But they care deeply, obsessively, and violently about the function you served. They care about the appliance that cooked their ego's meals. When that appliance unplugs itself and walks out the door, it causes a catastrophic error in their operating system. They are not mourning the loss of love, they are panicking over the loss of control. And for a control freak, that panic is a fate worse than heartbreak. The silence you impose is loud. It screams louder than any scream you ever unleashed during your fights. It screams, "You no longer exist to me." For a narcissist, who needs external validation to know they are alive, this message is a form of psychological death. They are essentially vampires who cannot see their own reflection. They needed you to look at them so they could see themselves. When you look away, they become invisible. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that terrifies a narcissist more than the prospect of their own invisibility. They expect you to crawl back. They are banking on it. They are counting the days, smug in their belief that you are too weak, too broken, and too addicted to stay away. They have discarded you before, or pushed you to the brink, and you always came back. This arrogance is their Achilles heel. They underestimate your capacity for survival because they project their own weakness onto you. They think you need them because they know, deep down, how desperately they need you. When you don't call, when the days turn into weeks, that smugness begins to curdle into dread. This video is going to expose the unseen mechanics of their collapse. We are going to look behind the curtain of their social media posts and their fake smiles. We are going to show you what happens in the dark corners of their mind when the supply line is cut. You think they are winning because they posted a picture with a new partner? That is not a victory lap. That is a frantic attempt to patch a bleeding wound. The reality of their internal world during no contact is a landscape of chaos, paranoia, and starvation. You are not the victim in this scenario anymore, you are the architect of their reckoning. By holding the line, You are forcing them to face the one thing they have spent their entire lives running from, themselves. You are stripping them of their armor. You are taking back the script and burning it. The unseen power of your absence is the weapon that finally penetrates their defense. It is the only thing that hits them where it hurts. Prepare yourself. We are about to walk through the wreckage of a narcissist's mind under siege. It is going to be heavy, it is going to be validating, and it is going to change the way you see your silence forever. You are not losing them. You are defeating them. Let's break down the devastation. To understand the devastation of no contact, you must first understand the narcissistic supply chain. The narcissist does not generate their own self-esteem. They are an empty vessel with a hole in the bottom. You were the hose, constantly pouring attention, admiration, frustration, and emotion into them to keep them filled. When you go no contact, you don't just turn down the flow, you sever the hose. The level inside them drops instantly. The panic they feel is biological. It is the panic of a diver running out of air. They are not missing your personality, they are missing their oxygen. We must discuss the failure of object constancy. In a healthy brain, when a loved one leaves the room, we know they still exist and we still feel connected to them. Narcissists lack this. Out of sight, out of mind, until they need something. However, when you remove yourself permanently, it triggers an abandonment meltdown. Because they view you as an object that belongs to them, like a toaster or a phone, your autonomous removal of yourself feels like a theft. They feel robbed. How dare my property walk away? This isn't heartbreak, it's the rage of a toddler whose toy has been snatched. The mirror shatters. Throughout the relationship, you functioned as a mirror. When you looked at them with love, they saw a god. When you looked at them with fear, they saw a powerful monster. Either way, they saw something. No contact removes the mirror. Suddenly, they are staring into a void. They look for their reflection and see nothing. This forces them to confront the true self, the shameful, broken, small child they buried decades ago. This confrontation is psychologically intolerable for them, triggering intense dysregulation. Control is their currency, and no contact bankrupts them. The narcissist felt safe only when they could manipulate your emotions. Knowing they could make you cry, make you stay up all night, or make you apologize for things you didn't do gave them a sense of omnipotence. When you block their number, their emails, and their social media, you are effectively saying, your currency is no longer accepted here. They are pressing buttons that are no longer connected to anything. The realization of their own impotence is a crushing blow to their grandiose delusion. The void expands. Without your daily input to distract them, the emptiness inside them grows. They try to fill it with other things, alcohol, drugs, casual sex, spending money, but these are poor substitutes for the high-grade fuel you provided. You were a primary source of supply. You knew their history, their secrets, their triggers. Replacing you is not easy. It takes time to groom a new victim to your level of compliance. In the interim, they starve. Distinguish between narcissistic injury and heartbreak. A normal person feels sad when a relationship ends. A narcissist feels insulted. The injury is to their ego, not their heart. They obsess over the fact that you rejected them. It disrupts their narrative of supremacy. I am the one who discards, not the one who is discarded. This inversion of the script drives them into a state of obsessive rumination. They replay the end over and over, trying to find a way to rewrite it so they come out on top. They don't miss you, they miss the function you performed. They miss having someone to blame for their failures. They miss having a punching bag for their rage. They miss having a cheerleader for their mediocre achievements. When they have a bad day at work and come home to an empty house, or a new partner who doesn't know the script yet, they feel the phantom limb of your absence. They reach out to use you, and you aren't there. That is when the reality of the loss hits them, not emotionally, but functionally. The scarcity mindset takes over. Narcissists live in a world of constant competition and scarcity. They believe there is a limited amount of adoration in the world, and they must hoard it. When you leave, they feel their resources dwindling. They become paranoid. Who is getting her attention now? Who is he looking at like that? They assume you are giving their supply to someone else. This thought drives them mad with jealousy, not romantic jealousy, but the jealousy of a miser losing his gold. They experience a loss of narrative control. While you were in contact, they could spin the story. They could gaslight you into believing you were the problem. With no contact, you have stepped outside their distortion field. They can no longer manipulate your perception. They know that you are out in the world, potentially telling the truth about them. The fear of exposure rises. They can no longer curate your thoughts. You are a rogue agent, and that makes you dangerous. The house of cards begins to tremble. The narcissist's entire personality is a fragile construct held together by the validation of others. You were a main load-bearing pillar in that structure. When you pull yourself out, the whole building groans. Cracks appear in the drywall. They have to scramble to shore it up, to find temporary props, but the structural integrity is compromised. They feel shaky, anxious, and unstable, even if they look calm on the surface. The turning point arrives when the silence stretches too long. At first, they thought you were bluffing. They thought it was a game. But as the weeks turn into months, the realization sets in. This is not a drill. You are not playing hard to get, you are gone. The arrogance that sustained them, she'll be back, they always come back, evaporates, replaced by a cold, creeping dread. The script has gone off the rails. They are actors on a stage where the other lead has walked out, leaving them talking to the air. This triggers the Hoover attempt. It starts small. A like on an old photo. A happy birthday text. A message sent by mistake. This is a probe. They are testing the electric fence to see if the power is still on. When you maintain no contact and ignore these probes, the shock is visceral. They are used to you jumping when they say jump. Your non-response is a thunderous rejection. It denies them the entry point they feel entitled to. Panic sets in. The narcissist realizes they are losing the war of attrition. They start to escalate. The messages become more emotional, more dramatic, or more aggressive. They might fake a crisis, a medical emergency, a family death, a financial ruin, to bypass your defenses. This is their extinction burst. Like a rat pressing a lever that no longer gives food, they press it frantically, harder and faster, before they finally give up. They are desperate to provoke any reaction, even anger, because anger is still connection. The smear campaign goes nuclear. When they cannot control you, they try to control how others see you. They spin a narrative where you are the abuser, the unstable one, the narcissist. But here is the twist. Without your reaction to fuel it, the smear campaign often falls flat or backfires. They look obsessed, talking about an ex who hasn't spoken to them in months. Their obsession makes them look unhinged. Your silence makes you look dignified. The contrast begins to turn people against them. The replacement fails to measure up. In their panic, they often rush into a new relationship to prove they don't need you. But because they didn't vet this new supply properly, or because they are still obsessed with winning you back, the new relationship is a disaster. They constantly compare the new partner to you. She doesn't listen like you did. He isn't as successful as you were. The new supply feels this resentment and pulls away, leaving the narcissist twice as isolated. They begin stalking and monitoring. Since they cannot access you directly, they obsess over your digital footprint. They create fake accounts to watch your stories. They drive by your house. They pump mutual friends for information. This is not love, it is reconnaissance. They are trying to find a chink in your armor, a sign that you are miserable without them. Seeing you happy, seeing you heal, burns them like acid. The power dynamic shifts irreversibly. For the entire relationship, they were the prize and you were the lucky winner. No contact flips the board. You are now the one who is out of reach, the one who is high value, the one who has boundaries. They are the beggar knocking at the gate. This inversion of status is humiliating for them. They have to live with the knowledge that you fired them. They become the obsessed one. You spend your time healing, reading, growing, and living. They spend their time stalking, plotting, fuming, and spinning lies. They are mentally trapped in the past, replaying your departure while you are moving into the future. They are the ones who cannot move on. The ghost of you haunts their every waking moment because you are the one puzzle they couldn't solve, the one victim who got away. The haunting intensifies. In the quiet moments, when the distractions fade, the memory of your final rejection loops in their mind. It gnaws at their sense of self. They wonder, what did she see? What did he find out? They are terrified that you saw behind the mask, and that your silence confirms that you know their secret, that they are small, pathetic, and empty. Your silence is a verdict of guilty. The turning point is the moment they realize they are impotent. They can scream, they can cry, they can threaten, and it changes nothing. Your no-contact wall is impenetrable. This realization of total powerlessness creates a narcissistic mortification, a shame so deep and intense that it feels like psychological disintegration. They have hit the wall, and the wall didn't move. Following the realization comes the collapse. The narcissist's defense mechanisms fail. They can no longer maintain the facade of the charming, successful, happy person. The mask slips, revealing the rage and misery underneath. They might have public outbursts, lose their temper at work, or alienate their remaining friends. They become erratic, moody, and unpredictable. The internal chaos spills out into the external world. The aging process accelerates. Maintaining a false self takes immense energy. Without your high-quality supply to rejuvenate them, they look tired. The spark leaves their eyes. The charm that used to work so effortlessly now feels forced and creepy. They are like a vampire who hasn't fed in centuries. They wither. The stress of the collapsed ego takes a physical toll on their appearance, which only deepens their insecurity. Isolation becomes their reality. As they spiral, they burn bridges. People get tired of their drama, their negativity, and their obsession with you. The flying monkeys, their enablers, start to drift away, confused by the narcissist's unraveling. They find themselves sitting alone in the ruins of their social circle, blaming everyone but themselves. The kingdom they built is empty. Internal rage turns into depression. The narcissist oscillates between furious entitlement and a black pit of self-pity. They view themselves as the victim of a great injustice. After everything I did for her, they cry to no one. This victimhood is a trap. It prevents them from taking responsibility, so they cannot learn, change, or grow. They are stuck in a loop of misery. Financial and professional consequences often follow. Distracted by their obsession with you and their internal collapse, they drop the ball at work. They make impulsive financial decisions to soothe their ego, buying cars they can't afford, going on trips they can't enjoy. The discipline required to maintain a successful life evaporates. They are too busy fighting ghosts to do their job. The mask rots. The charm offensive is over. They stop pretending to be nice. They become openly bitter, cynical, and cruel to everyone around them. The nice guy or sweet girl persona you fell for is gone forever. The world finally sees the monster you lived with. This public exposure is the ultimate nightmare for a covert narcissist who thrived on their reputation. Desperation leads to rock bottom. In a final attempt to fill the void, they might engage in high-risk behaviors, gambling, substance abuse, reckless driving. They are chasing a dopamine hit that can replace the supply you gave them, but nothing works. They are spiraling down the drain of their own pathology. The memory of you becomes a torment. In the beginning, they devalued you. Now, in the collapse, they might idealize you again, not out of love, but out of regret for losing the best source of supply they ever had. They torture themselves with the knowledge that they had a gold mine and threw it away for dirt. This isn't remorse, it's the frustration of a failed investment. The inescapable void consumes them. They have to sit with themselves, and they hate the company. There is no one left to blame, no one left to project onto. They are forced to inhabit their own skin, which feels like a prison cell. The silence of your no-contact echoes in their empty soul, a constant reminder of their inadequacy. Total destabilization. The narcissist is now a hollow shell. They go through the motions of life, but the light is off. They are a predator with no teeth, a king with no subjects, a performer with no audience. You have decimated their world simply by refusing to be part of it. So, what is the final truth you must hold on to? It is this: you were never the weak one. You were the battery that powered their entire existence. The moment you unplugged, their lights went out. The power they wielded over you was an illusion. It was borrowed from you. No contact is the act of reclaiming your own energy. It proves that you are the source, and they are nothing but the parasite. You need to understand that your silence is not a punishment for them, it is a protection for you. But the collateral damage to their ego is undeniable. You have proven that they are survivable. You have proven that life goes on without them, and in fact, it gets better. This truth destroys their worldview. You are the living proof of their irrelevance. No contact is the ultimate form of self-respect. It is a boundary that says, I am worth more than this. Every day you maintain it, you are building muscle. You are rewriting the neural pathways in your brain that told you that you were small. You are growing taller, while they are shrinking in the rearview mirror. Do not pity them in their collapse. Their misery is the result of their own choices. They had the opportunity to love you, to cherish you, to build a life with you. They chose to abuse, to exploit, and to devalue. The wasteland they are living in is the garden they planted. Let them harvest what they sowed. The opposite of love is not hate, it is indifference. Hate is still a connection. Hate still requires energy. No contact leads you to indifference. The day will come when you hear their name and feel nothing. No spike of fear, no pang of sadness. Just a neutral acknowledgement of a stranger you once knew. That is the moment they are truly dead to you. You are moving towards a horizon they cannot see. You are capable of introspection, of change, of deep connection. You can heal. They cannot. They are stuck in a time loop of their own making, doomed to repeat the same mistakes forever. You have escaped the loop. You are free. Keep the door locked. Nail it shut. Do not look through the peephole. Whatever they are doing, whatever they are saying, whoever they are with, it does not matter. It is noise. It is dust. You are building a sanctuary of peace that they are not qualified to enter. Stand in the wreckage of the relationship and look at the sky. It is blue. The air is clear. The storm is over. You survived the hurricane. Now, you get to rebuild the city of your life exactly the way you want it, without a dictator telling you where to put the bricks. Your absence was the catalyst, but your presence in your own life is the victory. You didn't just walk away from them, you walked back to yourself. Hug that person. Love that person. That person is the hero of this story. The unseen power of no contact is that it renders the narcissist powerless. It turns a monster into a memory, and eventually, into nothing at all. Silence is your sword. Indifference is your shield. Walk forward, keep walking, and let the silence be the last thing they ever hear from you.